Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we're going to be talking about the death of sub for sub on YouTube, as well as the death of giveaways on YouTube. We'll talk about some updates on how YouTube is protecting children and a whole lot more, so go ahead and stick around. Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to episode 158 of the BSP. My name is Bandrew. This is what I says. Like always, down below there are timestamps of everything that I talk about, so you can skip around and save a couple of minutes. But if you got the time, I would appreciate you checking out the entire dang episode. For other podcast shows that help you find your passion and listen to awesome people talking about awesome stuff, go to geeksrising.com and also check out our podcast network mate, Sunshine and Power Cuts. She is doing a live stream event called the Sunshine Summit from March 9th to the 16th, where she chats with other creators and connects with them, and it's going to be awesome. So check that out. All the information at geeksrising.com. Lastly, want a different version of this show? BandrewSays.com. Let's start with the death of sub for sub, as well as the death of giveaways. This last week, YouTube updated their fake engagement policy, and they said in this update that content that links to or promotes third-party services that artificially inflate views, likes, subscribers, or other metrics is not allowed on YouTube. We consider engagement to be legitimate when a human user's primary intent is to interact with the content free of coercion or deception. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I know you're all thinking, what does that actually mean? Well, in the same update, they did provide some examples of what not to post on YouTube to avoid violating this policy. And that would be, don't post content linking to or promoting third-party view count or subscriber gaming websites or services. Don't offer to subscribe to another creator's channel, only if they subscribe to your channel. And lastly, don't post content featuring a user purchasing their views from a third party with the intent of promoting this service. And this applies to videos, descriptions, comments, live streams, and any other YouTube product. So you are not able to promote this type of behavior. You're not able to say, sub for sub to me for another sub. You can't do that anywhere. In a video, in a comment section, in a description, nowhere. This is amazing news. I love this because I absolutely cannot stand when people leave comments, hey, sub for sub, guys. Hey, help me grow. Sub for sub. I'll sub for you. Shut up. Grow your audience legitimately, okay? They also went on to provide some actual examples of what not to do. They say, you can't do a video showing a user purchasing artificial page traffic. You can't post a video that links to an artificial page traffic provider. You can't have a video that tricks people into watching another video, aka a misleadingly labeled info card. And you can't have a channel dedicated to providing artificial channel engagement traffic or promoting businesses that exist for this sole purpose. And I also want to point out that Epos Vox, who is another YouTube creator, verified that Gleam contests are also not allowed. Those are contests that give you entries for subscribing to somebody or sharing a video for somebody. That is not allowed. You can't do that. You can't do sub for sub. You can't buy page views or anything. And what happens if you end up breaking these rules? If it's your first time breaking any of the rules, then you just get the warning, which I discussed last week. But if you've already used up that warning strike on your channel, you will get a strike. So if you break this multiple times within a month, or 90 days rather, your channel could risk being deleted. So you do need to follow these rules very carefully. But now, why are they doing this? Of course, I am just going to be speculating here because I don't have a comment from YouTube directly, but it seems pretty clear. It's the same reason why they do everything that they do on the platform, to please the advertisers. Ads that are displayed on videos with fake views cost these companies that are paying YouTube a lot of money, but they're getting absolutely no benefit out of it because that ad is not getting in front of somebody's eyes. It is getting seen by an algorithm, by a computer program. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but computer programs don't typically go out and buy stuff based on advertisements that they've seen. At least not yet. The end is not that nigh. The end may be nigh, but robots aren't buying stuff yet and making decisions on their own. People also likely abused this type of tool, the buying of subs and the buying of views, to game the partner program requirements where they could get 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours on their channel very easily for a relatively low amount of money. It would be very easy to do that, and that would allow them to abuse YouTube or make YouTube out to be a very bad company. We're going to jump into the conspiracy corner here because this could be used. All right, guys. Dusty in here again. It's been so long. Let me explain why we're in the conspiracy corner. Once somebody starts their YouTube channel, they can upload random, very innocent content while they buy 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours, and while they go through the approval process to get into the YouTube partner program. Once they're approved, that's where it gets potentially dangerous, because now they can upload shady content and monetize said content with the hopes that it doesn't get flagged immediately. And then they could constantly refresh the video looking for an ad to pop up on their channel. And then they can make an outrage video saying, "Oh my God, can you see this type of content? I cannot believe that YouTube is advertising on this horrifyingly terrible content that is just so incredibly bad. What is YouTube doing? Let's go ahead and target advertisers and say, I can't believe that you are paying YouTube to put your ads on this type of content." See, this is why we're in the conspiracy corner. This could have 100% worked in the past. But now that they are limiting the fake or improving the fake engagement policy, it seems like this will no longer be possible. I don't know if it ever did happen, but it absolutely could have happened, and it could have led to a lot of backlash on YouTube. What if a lot of this advertiser outrage was done by advertisers? I hadn't thought about that until just now. These advertisers create these channels, upload shady content, buy the subs, buy the views, and then they create these other YouTube accounts or Twitter accounts and start texting themselves saying, "Can you believe this type of content has your ads on it?" Making YouTube think, oh my God, people are really outraged about this, but it's really the companies doing it. This is crazy. It's really the companies doing it just to gain an upper hand in ad price negotiations. What if? Oh God, this conspiracy corner got real. Let's get out of here. I'm gonna have a hit put out on me. I'm onto them. Okay, we're out of the conspiracy corner. So what should you as a creator do now? If you have been relying on or using purchased subs and purchased views, stop right now. That is doing no benefit for you. It is not good for your channel. It will kill your channel so quickly. And if you have done this, it may have harmed the distribution of your videos in the past because your videos are getting shown to people through the algorithm, but it's not really people. It's computers, and they are not going to click on your video unless you pay them. So it will harm the distribution of your video. So just because this fake engagement policy was updated, that's not the only reason you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it because it's terrible, but it also hurts the distribution and the viewership of your actual content. Real people will not be getting shown this. So please do not do this. But I have heard some people say that this is the only way that they've been able to get traction in the algorithm. Maybe I am biased here, but I don't think that's true. I think it is 100% possible to gain traction in the algorithm by making good content. Let me explain what you should be focusing on rather than saving up money to buy this fake engagement. You need to be very intentional with the content that you're creating for YouTube because it is so competitive and you need to get into favor with the algorithm. So you need to be very intentional about the topics that you're covering, the thumbnails, the titles, the tags, and the timing. The timing is the one that I think is personally most important. The other stuff is also important, but timing is everything. I think the reason that podcastage has been as successful as it has been is because I started making those videos when it wasn't very popular. There weren't many people doing it, so I was one of the first to the market to focus on developing a standardized type of review. So if you can be the first to the market with some kind of new content, some kind of coverage, that will help you so much. You also need to have the good topics, the good thumbnails, the good titles, and the good tags. But timing, I think, is probably the most beneficial thing that you could do as a creator. All of these things will help you get into the good graces of the search algorithm. And as your audience grows, the algorithm will then say, you know what? People are liking this. Let's go ahead and share this with more new people and see if more new people are willing to click on it. Organic growth may be a lot slower, but it is significantly more sustainable. Well, it's actually sustainable. Buying subs and buying views is not sustainable. That's why I don't use Facebook really. Because if you post something to Facebook, they're not going to show the people who said, I like this channel. Let me go ahead and subscribe or follow it or like it. You have to pay to reach your audience who said, I want to view the content by this person, which is stupid. It's not sustainable, so that's why I don't use Facebook. There you have it. I will go ahead and link the updated fake engagement policy down below if you want to read more about it, but I think I covered everything in it. Next, we got YouTube providing updates on the protections for minors. M-I-N-O-R-S, not people who dig coal out of the ground or lithium or stuff. I don't know what's mined. Gold? Gold? Yeah, let's go with gold. We're not talking about that type of miner. We are talking about M-I-N-O-R-S, people under the age of 18. In case you missed last week's episode, I talked about pedophiles using or abusing the comment section of videos that contain minors, and this update is in response to that. And again, I will link the full YouTube blog post in the show notes and description in case you want to read directly from them, in case you want to avoid listening to me reading. The first thing they said is they are disabling comments on videos featuring minors. YouTube says that they disabled comments on tens of millions of videos that could be subject to predatory behavior. These efforts are focused on videos featuring young minors, and we will continue to identify videos at risk over the next few months. Over the next few months, we will be broadening this action to suspend comments on videos featuring young minors and videos featuring older minors that could be at risk of attracting predatory behavior. A small number of creators will be able to keep comments enabled on these types of videos. These channels will be required to actively moderate their comments beyond just using our moderation tools and demonstrate a low risk of predatory behavior. We will work with them directly, and our goal is to grow the number over time as our ability to catch violative comments continues to improve. And YouTube actually addressed something that I was wondering about over the last week. How are they going to differentiate between people who can and cannot have comments? Is it going to be anybody under the age of 18? It doesn't sound like it because they specifically said young minors and old minors. So I am going to go ahead and guess that it's 15 plus would be considered an old minor, maybe 16 plus, and younger, then that would be a young minor. So I think they will be a little bit more lenient if you're 17 or 18, not 18, 16 or 17, and you're uploading to YouTube. So I wouldn't be as concerned if you fall into that age bracket. The next header, they say launching a new comments classifier. While we have been removing hundreds of millions of comments for violating our policies, we had been working on an even more effective classifier that will identify and remove predatory comments. This classifier does not affect the monetization of your video. We accelerated its launch and now have a new comments classifier in place that is more sweeping in scope and will detect and remove 2 times more individual comments. And the last header is taking action on creators who cause egregious harm to the community. No form of content that endangers minors is acceptable on YouTube. which is why we have terminated certain channels that attempt to endanger children in any way. Videos encouraging harmful and dangerous challenges targeting any audience are also clearly against our policies. We will continue to take action when creators violate our policies in ways that blatantly harm the broader user and creator community. Please continue to flag these to us. And there you have it. Those are the official updates to their policies that they are using to protect children who are using the platform. And if you go and look at family channels like the Ballinger family, I think is the one that I checked, all of their videos have comments turned off, which makes sense. It sucks for them, but it makes perfect sense based on the outrage that was happening and based on the potential for harm or exploitation of a child, and also the potential harm to advertisers' trust of YouTube. This could have been very bad for YouTube had they not taken it seriously and not acted so quickly. I think we all should expect the comments on YouTube to be a little bit of a nightmare over the coming months, because it seems as though they rolled this new classifier out prior to it being ready. At least that's how I interpreted their blog post. And they say that it will claim 2 times more comments, individual comments. So I imagine that there will be a large number of false positives while they work out the kinks in this new classifier system, but we'll have to wait and see how bad it can actually get. Next story, YouTube put out a video, or the Creator Insider channel put out a video clarifying their monetization policy. And in this video, they talk about controversial social issues and sensitive events. They define a sensitive event as a bombing or shooting where there is a catastrophic loss of life, and they kept saying a really sad event. I don't know why they chose their words that way, but when I heard them saying that, that kind of left it open for a lot of interpretation. It's a catastrophic loss of life or a really sad event. I don't know if that's YouTube's official stance on it or if it was just this person not being clear enough, but that concerned me. So when one of these events occurs, YouTube will look at the news coverage and the videos being uploaded minutes and hours following the occurrence and ensure that no ads can be played on videos that focus exclusively on this. That's another thing where I don't know if this is YouTube's official stance or this person misspoke, but they said no ads can show on videos that cover this event exclusively. So if it's a Philip DeFranco show, can that be monetized because he doesn't focus exclusively on this event? Or is it anybody covering this event in depth? I don't know. I need to find the official YouTube policy here. But this it leaves way too much open to interpretation. Sad events and exclusively covering this event. But there's plenty of videos that cover multiple news stories and get demonetized. I don't know. They go on and say that even if you're covering breaking news and you're not showing any graphic images or going in depth with gory details, it will still be demonetized. And they really put the pressure on the advertiser here, saying that advertisers are really sensitive to recent or current sad events. Like these advertisers sit there like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Oh no. Like they're really sensitive to, they're not. They're not. I highly doubt it, because guess what? All these advertisers who are so sensitive to sad events that are currently going on advertise on news broadcast companies, on CNN, on Fox News, where they cover this stuff and their ads are showing up right next to it, you dopes. Why is there this double standard? I really think it does come down to gaining the upper hand in negotiations. That's what I think it really comes down to. I will link the Creator Insider video down below if you want to see the entire thing. They also talk about demonetization of videos with Nerf guns and profanity and video games. That is really it for the news. Wow. Short news story, week thing, let's jump to what I've been testing. And first up, I am going to conclude the run of the AKG C414XLS. This has been week 4 on this microphone. I don't know what my final thoughts are on this thing. Maybe I am being a little bit nitpicky, but to me, it sounded a little bit metallic in the upper frequency range. It wasn't as pleasant or as smooth as I was expecting, which was kind of disappointing. It did sound fine. You're able to get some good tones out of it. It's very versatile, given the multiple polar patterns and how you can mix between them. I think you have 8 different options here. Then you got the high pass filters, you got the pads. It is a very versatile microphone, and it's less boosted in the high end than the XL2, I think it is. This is the XLS, not the XL2. I haven't done any direct A/B comparisons between this microphone and other microphones. That's not why I use it on the podcast. I use it on the podcast to treat it like it's the only microphone that I have and attempt during that month to really hone in on the best sound that I can get out of it. Maybe I didn't do it the best. That's something that I risk, but I use it to get real-world experience with it as well. Let me know what you think about this microphone. Been using it the last month on the show. Do you like the sound? Do you dislike the sound? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? You can leave a comment on the YouTube video, or you can send me your thoughts on Twitter at Bandrew Says. Now, since this was such a slow news week, I am going to talk about something a little bit specialized that most of you probably won't care about. Digital audio players. Let me explain. Today, I'm going to say that I have been testing the HIBY or HIBY R3. It is a high-resolution digital audio player, touchscreen, 3.2 inches. It's $200, I think, so not nothing. It's not a cheap device for a sole purpose, just listening to music, but it does play lossless files, FLACs, DSD, I believe, and it's got Wi-Fi, so you can connect to your Wi-Fi signal and stream from Tidal in high res or lossless at least. It's got Bluetooth 4.1. I've been using it for a couple of months now, and the battery lasts me all day without a problem. USB-C, which is awesome, and the headphone amp, perfectly capable of driving even the HD 650s, which are very hard to drive. Now, the thing that I like most about the HIBY or HIBY is the operating system. It is a direct ripoff of iOS. If you swipe up, you can see it has a brightness control, it has a volume control. It looks like it's ripped off directly from iOS's media player functionality, but I actually like that a lot. And it is really easy to use. Jesus Christ, I am dying. My brain is shutting down. All around a great device, and 150 million times better than the FiO DAP that I was using before, because this FiO device was just laggy and just a hunk of crap. I didn't realize how crappy it was until I picked this guy up. It's like, oh, it's got a touchscreen. It's actually responsive. It doesn't have some really crappy capacitive touch wheel that doesn't work well. So if you're looking for a DAP, I've only used these two, but the HIBY R3 works wonderfully. It is a thick boy. If you want to see the YouTube video right here, it is a thick boy in terms of thickness, hence thick boy. I'm a dope. There you go. That's what I've been testing over the last few months, and I am really enjoying it. I guess, whoa, I'm dropping it. I guess one of my main complaints would be that there is no podcast player app on here or audiobook player. And you may be thinking, Bandrew, that is ridiculous. Why would you spend $200 on a high-res lossless DAP and then want to listen to 64 kilobits per second MP3 files? It's so I have a single purpose or single device for all my audio listening. I could listen to podcasts, I could listen to audiobooks, then I could listen to my lossless music on here. Rather than needing to carry this around with me, as well as the iPhone headphone adapter and all of that stuff, It would just make it so much easier. Sync up all of the podcasts in the morning and then go ahead, go to work, listen to your music, listen to your shows, listen to your audiobooks, and you're good to go. If an audio player can do that in the future, I will throw my G-dang money at you so fast. Give me an audio player that does lossless audio, it has Audible support for audiobooks, and it has a dedicated podcast player with playback speed functionality, and it also remembers where you were in the shows and everything. Somebody create that, I'll give you my dang money. And so many other people will too. That's what I've been testing this week. Now let's jump to what you had to say. The first comment comes from Z Alves. 1920. No, Bandrew, he's right. If you're searching for bikini videos and after watching a couple of them, YouTube recommends children videos to you, something is really effed up with the algorithm. Now, Z Alves and I kind of disagreed here. We got into it in the comments, but I think we remained civil. However, I do think we will continue to disagree. First, I want to make it abundantly clear, because I obviously did not do this well enough last week. Let me explain my stance. I think that pedophiles are disgusting monsters, and I think they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Do whatever you can in the legal system to prosecute these people that are exploiting and putting children in harm's way. 100% do that. But here's where I think we are going to disagree. He pointed out that me defending the YouTube algorithm made it seem like I am defending these disgusting pedophiles, and I don't think that's the case at all. Here's my mentality about this entire thing. There must have been some kind of correlation between that initial bikini video and the first video of a child that was getting recommended by YouTube. That's my theory. If that's not the case, then 100% I will go ahead and say there was a serious problem with the algorithm. My guess is maybe the bikini video and the child's video, maybe they were both wearing a bathing suit and both of those were linked in the tags, or maybe YouTube's categorization algorithm where they look at thumbnails and say, this is what's going on in the video, here are some keywords, maybe there was some correlation there. But if it was just arbitrarily saying you're watching bikini videos, here's a child, I will go ahead and say 100% a problem. It does appear to be fixed, but 100% a problem. I doubt that was the case though. I imagine there was some correlation or overlapping content between those two types of videos. Yes, one is inherently disgusting because it's a bikini video, and then it's saying here's a child in a bikini video. I understand that is horrifying and disgusting. But YouTube clearly didn't have a classifier saying this is an adult in a bikini and this is a child in a bathing suit. Doesn't seem like they had that kind of context in their system, but they do seem to have it now. I did go ahead and try to recreate the issue that Matt discussed in his video. I wasn't able to do it. I followed all the directions, created a throwaway account, turned on a VPN, used a private browsing history window thing, and I wasn't able to do it. My theory here, or my plan, was to install TubeBuddy, I think it is, and that allows you to see the tags of the videos. So I was going to go and find the exact videos that he found and see what the tags were in each of the videos, see how they could potentially lead to another. But also, YouTube has, or Google has, this tool where you can upload a thumbnail or a video, or a picture rather, and it will say, this is what we believe is in this video, and this is how we would classify it. Is it sexual? Is it not sexual? We see a face, we see a young person, we see an adult. It does a really good job at classifying stuff. I was going to download the thumbnails for these videos as well, run it through that. But here's the problem I ran into. The first video of a child that he came across, I tried to locate that one to pull the tags, and the thumbnail, it didn't exist anymore. It appears that that channel has been completely wiped off the platform. So my theory, let me reiterate this, my theory is I think that there was some correlation between the videos, whether it be they're outside doing yoga, they're doing a challenge, they're wearing bathing suits, they're both females. But it doesn't appear that YouTube understood that there was a difference between an adult in a bathing suit and a child in a bathing suit, and they didn't understand, or the algorithm didn't understand what that type of content would lead to or what it would be used for. And to just drill it into everybody's head, let me reiterate, I was not defending pedophiles in the slightest. They are monsters. Bury them underneath the prison, in the words of Bill Burr. Prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. Get rid of them. They are monsters, and they are exploiting and putting children in danger's way. That is absolutely the worst thing that you could do, or one of the worst things you can do. Now that I've said that, can you at least extend an olive branch and say, you know what, maybe YouTube isn't as stupid as we think they are, and maybe it was just a mistake, or maybe there was some correlation and they didn't take into account the bad behavior or the disgusting nature of certain people. I just don't think that we should try to destroy YouTube because of a mistake, an oversight, or anything. That's my take on it. I'm sure we will continue to disagree, but I appreciate us being able to keep it civil, even though you did say that I seem to support pedophiles. Jesus, I don't think you can say anything worse about somebody. Anyways, next comment. Z Alves, I still like it. No hard feelings, no nothing, but we will likely continue to disagree there. Next comment comes from Matt Damaz. He says, man, something has to give eventually. I don't know how much more YouTube can do before the system completely implodes in on itself. I know they are trying to fix things, but people can easily weaponize the comment sections. Did they not think this through, like, at all? So bad. Also, I agree, that guy probably went overboard with his video. Matt, you are 100% right. Something has to give on YouTube. It has just been getting so much bad press, so many attacks, so many bad actors using the platform that something has to give. The thing that I think a problem is, it is really the only usable platform with a community to share videos and get discovered and get advertising dollars. None of these other video hosting platforms come even close. And it would be very difficult for any company to come in and start to compete with YouTube because it has so many tools built up. It has so much talent at the company working on products and programs. It would just be very difficult for anybody to compete. Because of that, there are a lot of people who want to destroy YouTube. People will continue to write negative articles, making YouTube in a bad light, and just trying to destroy them at every turn in the corner. They just want to get rid of YouTube and destroy them so much. The funny thing is, a lot of these negative news stories obviously come from news outlets, and they say, I can't believe that YouTube would let any of this get through their algorithms. How did they let this type of bad behavior continue to exist? But if you look at the majority of these news outlets on their websites, they have comments disabled. So these news outlets were unable to moderate a few hundred comments properly. So they said, we'll just go ahead and disable the comments. Rather than saying, well, let's go ahead and try to actually moderate this, develop some kind of algorithm to resolve the issue and stop any bad actors. Yet they assume that YouTube, a platform that relies 100% or maybe 50% rather on audience interaction, go ahead and moderate millions and millions and millions of comments and don't let a single mistake happen. But these news companies just say, well, we can't figure it out. We'll just turn off all comments. Maybe these news outlets want that. Turn off all comments, turn off all interaction. Don't let anybody upload to YouTube. Only let these news outlets upload to YouTube. I can't believe it. It's just something does have to give. 100% agree. I don't know what will give, but something's going to change and it's going to be bad. Next comment from John Hitbox. I support the Home Alone thumbnail. Okay, let's jump to my favorite part of the podcast, the Ask Bandrew segment. All right. Greetings, Earth. That's not it. welcome to the Ask Bandrew segment. If you guys got any questions, go ahead and send them to askbandrew@gmail.com, and I will likely answer them on an upcoming episode of the podcast. Reminder, you can send in audio, you can send in video. I will include that, and it saves me the headache of trying to read, and it saves you the headache of listening to me read. First email comes from Blake. My name is Blake, and I am just getting started into video production and podcasting. He's about to start buying podcasting gear. He's looking at the AKG P220 and a Behringer mixer, and he says, I am pretty sure I want to go with a mixer-style board rather than an audio interface, but I am concerned about the connection to the computer. Is a USB connection from the board to the computer okay? Is there a better audio option? Is there a 1/8 inch cable option that is better? If so, do I need a sound card? Blake, yes, you should connect a USB mixer to your computer over USB. That is likely going to be the best option. Of course, there are other standalone analog to digital converters that have multiple inputs. You can run a line out from every single channel into something like an Apogee Ensemble, I think, or Apogee Symphony, or a Universal Audio, what is it, the X16? Something like that, but that is going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, so I imagine that's not what you're looking at, and that would be 1/4 inch out of every channel into that D or A to D converter. Your best bet would be just get a USB mixer like the Behringer 802 USB, I think it was, that you were looking at, and there's no problem with connecting it over USB. That's how pretty much every single USB audio interface and USB mixer functions, hence USB audio mixer or USB audio interface. It's how the audio is sent to your computer, and there's no issues with it. So I think you should be fine with that. More power to you, because you're not talking about a PCIe interface or anything. You're not going down that road. I can tell. Just get the mixer, get the microphone, you'll be good. Connect it over USB. Make sure it is the USB version of the Behringer, though. Next email comes from Jake. This email was sent to my podcastage email, and I got into it with a guy over the email because he was telling me that I was pronouncing Neewer incorrectly. He said, hey, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's newer. And I said, well, if it was newer, why did they have the second E? Why do they have the second E? It looks like it's pronounced Neewer. If they wanted it to be pronounced newer, why did they not spell it newer? So what this guy did, what Jake did, is he sent an email to support@neewer.com. He says, do you pronounce the second E in Neewer, or does it sound like newer? Thank you, Jake. The support team responded back, Neewer, that's not right. Where is it? Thanks for contacting Neewer support team. It's pronounced like newer. Is there anything else we can do for you? Cherry. No, not that I can think of, is his response. So, according to Neewer support team, it is pronounced newer, but screw that. No, I'm not going to pronounce it newer. If you wanted it to be pronounced newer, you should have spelled it newer, not Neewer. So screw you. Screw you, Neewer. And thanks for the information, Jake, but now I'm just going to do it to spite the company, because what a dumb way to name your company. Sorry. Next email comes from Back Row Fantasy Show. Hey, you silly bastard. Huge fan. Attribute my audio. Thank you very much, Back Row Fantasy Show. Appreciate you. Question. Are you of the opinion that just about any microphone can be made to sound good with EQ and processing? Thanks in advance, and by all means, keep doing everything you do. I enjoy all of it. I do not believe that any microphone can be made to sound good with EQ and processing. That would be too absolute of an answer, because I am sure that there are microphones. I know for a fact there are microphones out there that sound like absolute trash. I do think that you can make most microphones tolerable, but there are plenty of atrocious microphones that no matter how much EQ, no matter how much processing that you do, will continue to sound absolutely horrendous. Whether it be an omnidirectional microphone that's 5 feet away from you, that has no lows and no highs, and it's just a mid microphone, there's not much you can do there. So no, I don't think that you can make any microphone sound good. I think you can make microphones sound decent, but I also think that if you have a bad microphone, you're going to be severely limited, but you also need to practice good microphone technique and know what you're doing rather than, for instance, if I was back here with this microphone, I don't even know if you could still hear me, it would be hard to make this sound good because it just inherently sounds bad. It's not picking up my voice clearly. There's too much room noise, just a bad setup there. So if you have a decent microphone and you use it properly, you can get decent sound out of pretty much anything. But if you have a terrible sounding microphone, not much you can do. And if you have a great microphone, but you use it terribly, probably not much you can do to make that sound good. And the next video, what is this, Bandrew? We got a video submission from the Eldest Bro. So let me go ahead and play that for you.
Greetings, Bandrew. Eldest Bro here with a question for you. So, I've been thinking about taking live streaming a lot more serious and thinking about starting a podcast with one of my friends. And I've been listening back to my audio, and people who tune into my live streams say it sounds good. They like how it sounds, but to me, it's not quite there. I can't quite describe what's wrong with it, but it doesn't sound quite there to me. So, my question to you is, using the Reaper VST plugin in OBS, is there any EQ that you would recommend me do? The current processing that I do to my audio is light compression and a noise gate using my DBX266XS. Thank you, and I'm waiting your response.
Eldest Bro coming through with a video question and asking me something so incredibly difficult as the first submission. What would you do to fix my audio? What a difficult question. I don't know what problems you have with your audio or what you think a problem area might be. What I did was I asked him to send me another clip without any processing, and then I processed it how I would. So here is the unprocessed clip. I'll let you hear that.
Hello, this is a speaking test of me, the Eldest Bro, speaking into my microphone with no post-processing, no noise gate, no compression, no nothing. I'm just going to ramble so that way you have a nice, long, just kind of off-the-cuff.
And here is how it sounds once I added my processing, which I will walk you through right after I play this.
Hello, this is a speaking test of me, the Eldest Bro, speaking into my microphone with no post-processing, no noise gate, no compression, no nothing. I'm just going to ramble so that way you have a nice, long, just kind of off-the-cuff, because I know that.
So that is how I ended up getting it to sound. Is it perfect? No. It takes me a long time. I'm not some kind of magician like Chris Curran, where everything that he touches sounds perfect. It takes me a very long time to fine-tune my settings. I have been figuring out where to cut my vocal frequencies for 2.5 years, and I still screw it up every single week. Let me go ahead and tell you what I did. First, I put it through a gate. Obviously, I don't have the hardware that you're using, so I used, what is it? I can't recall. It is FabFilter Pro G. I ran a threshold of around -30, a ratio of 10:1, attack of 1 millisecond, release of 100 milliseconds, a hold of 2 milliseconds, and a knee of 0 decibels. I did this to cut out the background noise prior to compressing it because the compression really starts to bring up the fan noise that's going on in the background. And actually, on that note, Eldest, turn off the fan, please. But anyways, let's go on. Then I ran it into a compressor. I just used the narration vocal preset in Logic Pro. I did make some minor adjustments. So the threshold is -30 dB, ratio of 3:1 as opposed to 4:1. Makeup gain, it's going to vary based on how much compression you're getting. The knee is 1. The attack is 35 milliseconds and a release of 48 milliseconds. And I do admit the compression how I processed it may be a little bit noticeable. It's not as transparent as I typically like, but I'm starting to lean more towards, you know what, maybe some of that more aggressive compression's okay. I do still like a more transparent multi-compressor setup going on, but with the hardware that you have, you only got a single compressor, so that's how I did it, at least in this test. And then, lastly, what you asked about, the EQ. Let me tell you what I did. I didn't want to do any boosting. I just tried to locate some treble frequencies, which is typically what I do. I very rarely say, you know what I want? I want a little bit of added brightness. Let's go ahead and boost that up. I typically say, okay, where is there something that stands out to me as sounding incorrect or sounding a little bit unpleasant to listen to? First thing I did a high pass filter at 65 hertz at 12 decibels per octave. Second, I cut about 5 decibels at 950 hertz with a Q of around 5.75 to remove a little bit of nasaliness from your voice. And then third, I cut quite significantly at around 7.5 kilohertz with a narrower Q to remove some sibilants and some S's. If you have a de-esser, don't do this, just use the de-esser. This EQ here at 7.5 kilohertz was just for the sake of removing some sibilants out of the recording, but I imagine you have a de-esser on your outboard gear. I don't know. That is how I processed it. Is it the best? Probably not, but it takes me a super long time because I'm terrible at it. That's my take on it. I hope that helped get you closer to the sound that you want. That's how I would do it. There you go. And I'm actually going to include one last email, and it comes from Alan, aka Soundspeeds. And he says, Bandrew, all this talk about censorship on YouTube channels has me wondering if censoring minor profane words could lead to the viewer assuming what's being said is far worse than it really is. I'm sure you've heard of unnecessary censorship, right? Bleeping out certain innocent words that leave one's imagination to make the sentence sound profane when it wasn't. I was wondering, what would one of your podcastage mic reviews, versus series, or other videos sound like if it were edited that way? Any chance you could take a segment of one of your videos and apply an unnecessary censorship filter to it? Thanks, dude. Alan, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate your and I really like the fact that you enjoy so much and so much of your I really like the fact that your is so big and you have so much experience with all this stuff. I'm trying to make the sentence as inappropriate sounding as possible so that I could throw some censors in there and make it sound even worse. That's it for this episode. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sending in your emails and your questions. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, geeksrising.com for other shows like this, the Sunshine Summit information, Bandrew says for different versions of this show, and I will see you all next time. Bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production, your executive producer of Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.